Yes, 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 yes. I'm wearing a big jacket because it's cold. And I feel like getting dressed up. I'm just a girl on the internet. Let me live. Hello, you stunningly gorgeous people of the internet. I'm just checking in because it has been a little bit of a moment and I have gotten some books. Me and my bangs have gotten some books. I know that I said that I wanted to read a lot of what I already own this year, but these are books that have just come to me. And I can't thank you enough because they've come to me because of your viewership and because of your patronage to my page. I figured why not share them with you, so maybe you can get some ideas of some books that you would like to read in the new year, and I can just tell you some stories about how I acquired them. I have only bought one book so far this year, and it has been Less Than Zero by Bret Easton Ellis. I found a really cool vintage version at one of my favorite places, the Big Reuse in Red Hook, Brooklyn. I already read it, and I'm adding it to my collection of Bret Easton Ellis that just do it for me. So these are the books that I haven't read, but that I've acquired, and I'm very excited to talk with you about. So I should have probably grabbed them. Let me grab them. All right, so this is basically the most random grouping of books you can imagine. We've got some people that would probably never hang out with some other people, and I love that, and I hope that that's what I bring to the internet, just groups of books that wouldn't play together on the playground, but here they are, enjoying and loving each other's company. The first series of books that I've acquired, I had a really interesting conversation with an author who reached out to me. He had seen my weird books video and he said, hey, I got some weird books, and we had a nice back and forth conversation, and he sent me a couple of his works. The publishing house that he also is published through, they sent me a couple of additional works as well, so I want to talk about them. I think this is gonna tickle the brain of everybody who liked those weird books that I talked about. Volume 2 is coming soon. More weird books will be coming your way. Maybe these will make it onto it. Anyway, the author that I was in correspondence with is Jack Skelley, and this is from Far West Publications, and this is his book Myth Lab, Theories of Plastic Love. It's a genre-defiant sex trip to post-human dimensions. If C.G. Chung, magic mushroom shaman Terence McKenna, and Camille Paglia had a three-way while binging on George Batil, I can never say that last name, and undergoing hormone replacement therapy, their baby might be the erotic cocktail of Myth Lab. Its extreme theme is nothing less than the fate of the species. Something a little weird, and I'm sorry, that cover is just ridiculous. I love that. Also from Far West is Forged Prescriptions by Tony O'Neill. Another fascinating and gorgeous cover. I really love the feeling of certain books. I feel like I'm more keen to pick up a book if it just feels good. Forged Prescriptions takes you down sideways and then round again like a carnival ride stuffed inside a dented garbage can. That's how I feel walking down the streets in New York City. Crazy. Specks of city lights in the night with the taste of the gutter melting on your tongue. I love that. The Secret Door by Cynthia Ross. This, from my understanding, is poetry, beat girl poetry. The Secret Door is a poetry collection, a rose growing out of a sidewalk, beauty amongst the cracks in the concrete. Let yourself in and see what's beyond the threshold. Blurbs by Michael Imperioli, who is The Sopranos, baby. So I trust The Sopranos. I trust them a lot. So these three, how fun do these all look? So cool, right? Just sexy and different, which I love. I have been getting really into researching more about Charles Manson. I just listened to a really great podcast by Karina Longworth called You Must Remember Manson. She's one of my favorite podcast hosts. I love everything that she does. And then I rewatched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, an amazing movie. If you don't like it, you're thinking too much. That's a lot of fun. And I was talking to Jack Skelley, and he sent me Dennis Wilson and Charlie Manson, just this small little book that has some illustrations as well. He sent me this, and I think this will take me a very short amount of time, but I haven't touched it yet, so just something a little fun. And the main book that Jack sent to me was The Complete Fear of Kathy Acker, which is Such a gorgeous looking book as well. This is definitely something that touches my aesthetic sensation, and I can't wait to rip into it. I haven't actually read anything by Kathy Acker, but the book that I know her most for is Blood and Guts in High School, correct? I think that's the name. I haven't read anything by her, but this is Jack Skelley's kind of retelling of that underground phenomenon of writers and artists at the time. And this says, published in excerpts over almost 4 decades, Jack Skelley's secretively legendary novel is at once an homage to the thrilling, inventive spirit of Kathy Acker's cut-up novels and the definitive history of LA's underground culture in the mid-1980s. Composed in bursts, Fear of Kathy Acker depicts Los Angeles through the eyes of a self-mocking narrator, shifting styles and persona as he moves between Venice and Torrance, punk clubs and shopping malls, Disneyland and Dodger Stadium. Jack Skelley pushes the limits of language and identity while pursuing, much as Kathy Acker did. And there's a little bit more, but this looks great. I mean, I'm very much into that LA world right now. I have a love-hate relationship with LA. Every time I'm there, I curse it, and then I leave, and I can't stop thinking about it. And I don't know what that says about me. I think I'm just maybe forcing New York City to be my identity a little too much. Maybe I have to let love in sometimes. I've created this. This is a flaming heart, in my opinion. I don't see anybody do this. Maybe this is a thing already. Flaming heart. Flaming heart. Dum, 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 dum. Flaming heart. Forever. Peace and love. All right, then I have from Isolarii, one of my favorite little publications. They give me all those small little tiny books that I love, and they sent me another one called My Techno Optimism, which I don't know if you know anything about me, but I do love me some techno music. I do. And this, oh my God, they always wrap it so well. I did a little bit of research, and this author is the developer of Ethereum. It's almost like a cloth. It's not a cloth bound, but there is almost like a very fibrous feeling to this, though I know that paper is fiber, but come on now. Introduction. Last year I wrote an essay titled My Techno Optimism. It was a response to a manifesto circulating online, arguing for renewed enthusiasm about technology and for markets and capitalism as a means of building that technology and propelling humanity towards a brighter future. The manifesto unambiguously rejected what is described as an ideology of stagnation that fears advancements and prioritizes preserving the world as it exists today. So I think that this is going to be all about technology and the emergence of technology, AI, things like that. Fun, really fun. And sorry, it's gorgeous. Beautiful. All right. Next, I was reached out to by Mariner and Morrow, a subsidiary of HarperCollins, and a lovely, lovely lady said, you can pick any books that you want. We would love to send you some books. And I said, that is far too hard of a challenge. That is like sending a child with chronic cavities into a candy store. I can't do it. I did say that I wanted one book in particular, and I'll tell you which book that I wanted, but I said just pick anything that you want and send it to me. I'm sure you have amazing taste. Your backlog is beautiful. Just pick what you like. Just send me anything. And so they sent me 5 books, which thank you for watching so that I have the opportunity to have those books. The first book is Friday Black Stories. Hello now. I'd never heard of this, but apparently this was published in 2018. And the author, I was doing a little bit of research on the back. The author is from Spring Valley, New York. He graduated from SUNY Albany, which is very close to where I'm from. So I love to see a fellow upstate New Yorker make it happen, and went on to receive his MFA from Syracuse University. I had friends go there as well. I'd never heard of this book, but this is all short stories that explore urgent instances of racism and cultural unrest and the ways we fight for humanity in an unforgiving world. Entirely fresh in style and perspective, and sure to appeal to fans of Colson Whitehead, Marlon James, and George Saunders, Friday Black confronts readers with complicated, insistent, retching chorus of emotions, the final note of which remarkably is hope. This I feel like I would pick up probably very soon. It's very short and something I never knew about, so thank you. The second book that they sent, and this is a book that I have read, but I do not have this edition, and this is really great. I feel like I've been seeing this edition everywhere, and I'm happy to have my hands on it, and it is 1984 by George Orwell. We know George Orwell's 1984. Every single year of my life, everybody says it's more pertinent than ever to read 1984. So, of course, it is more pertinent than ever to read 1984. Of course, we know this classic. I have very distinct memories of reading this when I was in high school and Big Brother. I actually saw the Broadway production with Olivia Wilde and Tom Sturridge, and it was great. Very, very good. I imagine that a rereading of this is definitely due. Great cover. Thank you so much. Then, this is an author that I've really been meaning to get into, and I haven't yet, but I'm so happy. Another story collection, but this is by Jhumpa Lahiri. Lahiri, yes. I haven't read anything by Lahiri, but I have only heard wonderful things. I see a lot of her books in thrift stores, and I never get around to picking them up, so now I have one in my possession. This is all short stories. Stunning debut collection, unerringly charts the emotional journeys of characters seeking love beyond the barriers of nations and generations in stories that travel from India to America and back again. Lahiri speaks with universal eloquence to everyone who has ever felt like a foreigner. I love that. And all of her covers, I feel like, have very similar looks, like script and beautiful colors, and I think it'll be a great way to get into her. My foot is asleep. My foot is asleep. Then this was a book and an author that I had never heard of, and this is a National Book Award finalist. This is The Turner House by Angela Flournoy. This looks like it is a family saga, which you know how much I love a family saga. This says, for over 50 years, the Turners have lived on Yarrow Street. Their house has seen 13 children grow and leave and sometimes return. It has seen the arrival of grandchildren, the fall of Detroit's East Side, and the loss of a father. But when their mother falls ill, the Turners are called back to decide the house's fate and to reckon with how the past haunts and shapes their future. A fascinating portrait of a brood full of love, pride, and unlikely inheritances. The Turner House reminds us of how our families bring us home. And she is a graduate of the Iowa Writers Workshop and a National Book Foundation's 5 Under 35 honoree. I love a young writer writing about family. This feels like it's a little Zadie Smith vibe. Yeah, I am excited to read this. If it's a family saga, you know I'm down for it. So thank you again. So the next two books that I have, this was something very exciting that I want to share with you anyway, because this wouldn't have happened if you didn't watch my videos and ultimately give me this platform. So I really can't thank you enough. Everything that's happening here is because you tune in, and I'm so thankful. So thank you. I was invited by the Strand to watch a conversation with Katie Couric and Bill Gates. I posted a full vlog of it on my Patreon, but I'll insert some clips here as well. But I was asked to watch this talk, and it's about Bill Gates is unveiling a new memoir. He's going to be doing 3 sections of a memoir. His first being Source Code, and it's detailing his life from being a baby to age 23, figuring out Microsoft, and ultimately kind of becoming this face of technology. And it was him and Katie Couric. I had such a hard time saying Couric. I was saying Couric for a long time, and it's Couric. Say Couric 3 times fast. Couric, that's so hard. I don't want to do it on camera and embarrass myself. So I went to the Strand and I was able to watch this conversation. It was about 45 people in that room, publishers, authors, fellow creators, and it was really astonishing to think that making these little videos in my apartment would lead to a moment like that. That's unbelievable to me, and I'm really moved and touched. So thank you, really thank you. It's really big. Thank you. So anyway, I guess that's my way of saying that I have Bill Gates' new memoir, Source Code, and he signed it, which is super cool. Bill Gates. So if I want to deposit a check and use his signature, I can now. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm really kidding. I'm actually really interested to read about this. I went through a period of reading a lot of technology books. I was reading Steve Jobs' memoir, The Innovators by Walter Isaacson as well, both by Walter Isaacson, and I was really interested in technology. I was kind of in that generation where it was like a mainstay in our life. I was moved, actually, by his commentary and podcast style conversation with Katie Couric to want to pick this up. He said something really interesting, that he would go on these hikes with his friends, and when the hike would become too challenging, he would do code in his head to erase the feeling of pain going through his body during this hike, which is something I can't relate to, but I'm totally interested about that. So yeah, his new book just came out, and I think I'm gonna probably read this very soon. And not last but not least, oh, I had another book. I'm a silly little girl. I also got Katie Couric's Going There, which is a really beefy memoir. I didn't think that I would be reading this, but I just might. Honestly, I just might. I'm fascinated by somebody coming up in an era where it was really liberating for a lot of reporters and people to kind of forge their own path. I'm interested to see the back history of television and reporting at that time, because I am actually very interested in reporting and hosting. I would love to do something like that. I don't know if I'll get to this urgently, but I have this book now. This is a big old book. And last but not... Oh my God, devastating, it just all fell. And last but not least, from Mariner and Morrow, this was the book that I specifically requested from them, so that should have gone with that last grouping of books, but it did not. I'm sorry, I apologize. Everything is out of order, but let me live. This book I picked up because when I did most popular books of every decade, this one I had no idea what it was. I'd never heard of it, but a lot of people in the comments said you gotta read it. It's actually very good. The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien. I've never even heard of that book. I'll be honest, I've never even heard of that book. I don't know what that book is. I don't know who Tim O.B. is. It's about Vietnam. Oof. Interesting. The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien. Apparently this is a Vietnam novel. I know about Vietnam. Obviously, I know the dates. I know what happened. I know the tragedy of it all, but I don't know Vietnam, which is kind of crazy because I had an uncle fight in Vietnam, and it's something I feel like people don't openly talk about. It's not information that is openly divulged. So I feel like this would be a great way to get invested in that and learn more, and obviously go into a deep YouTube history study after I finish it. This I think is gonna be great, and I want to pick this up sooner than later. So guys, I feel like that was very long-winded. I haven't been in front of the camera for about a week or so, and I feel a little rusty. So I apologize. But anyway, those are the books that I've received so far this year. Again, thank you so much for inviting these books into my life. I mean, I really wouldn't be able to do it without you, and I appreciate everything you've given me. So thank you so much. Thank you to the publishing houses that have sent them to me, and yeah, I can't wait to get my little boo-day reading. Let me know what book you would read first out of these, because I'm kind of struggling to pick a winner, Pick a winner, it's hard. It's so hard. Anyway, you guys are wonderful. You're fabulous. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you in the next one. Check out Oleg's channel. He just got one. Check him out. He's having a good time over there. Bye. Flaming heart.